Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I am Megan Huber, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director, bringing before you an item to consider program guidelines and budget allocation for a community projects grant, which is a current strategic goal of the City Council. This goal originated really even before our strategic planning in May of this year. It originated in our focus area work plan, which is the guiding document that was presented and subsequently codified via resolution that provides a longer-term work plan to really focus in and provide intensive attention to the areas that are most important to our community, one of which being community connection. And this program was a recommendation presented in that memo as a tool to put in our community engagement toolbox and advance community connection in Citrus Heights. It showed up immediately in our strategic planning grid, and like I said, is a current goal to present to you for consideration a proposal that would provide grants to community groups to facilitate community projects that engage citizens, improve the community, and promote community involvement and pride. So this evening, we will review the program goal and scope, as well as proposed eligibility, what the application process would look like, as well as the review and award process, and finally, the program term and recommended funding. So the program goal for our community projects grant is fourfold. It's meant to increase community connection by first inspiring creative and innovative thinking, and I have some really great community data to share with you on that point. Second, to connect residents through events and programs. I think we all collectively agree that one of the highest, the most frequent requests that we hear from community are chances to connect via events. Third, we would use this program to reach local grassroots groups looking to do something positive in their community to build on our community engagement goals. And finally, fourth, to strengthen existing and create new partnerships to improve Citrus Heights' quality of life. And really, that underscores that community engagement, it does not happen in a vacuum. It's not something a city organization can do by itself. It really takes connecting and weaving that community fabric with all of our community champions to make an effective program. So for this program, we intentionally designed guidelines to be as wide as possible so that we have a better understanding of needs out in the Citrus Heights community, how this program could potentially help, and really invite new folks to the table to engage with Citrus Heights. So this program would be open to any 501c3 community group or organization that's seeking funding to complete an activity or project that improves the quality of life and community connection in Citrus Heights. Now, while I did not say individuals are eligible, that is for prudent reasons. Because we're casting such a wide net for proposed projects and programs, we so easily get into territory of insurance requirements and permits and similar. So we'd like to start out by receiving applications from community groups. However, that does not mean our residents cannot or will not be involved. What we see is an opportunity to build a program that can be stewarded by our neighborhood association network and provide a new way for them to provide value to residents to engage. So we'll be heavily involving our neighborhood associations in the marketing and administration and finding new folks to participate in this community engagement programming.
Can I ask you an initial question?
Mm-hmm.
So, we currently have a grant program for neighborhood associations to apply and receive funding for a project.
We do.
So, would this is outside of that, I take it?
Correct.
So, potentially or theoretically, a neighborhood association could apply for a neighborhood association grant, and they could apply for this?
It's possible, as long as it's within the guidelines.
Okay, thank you.
So, as I mentioned, we work to design these guidelines to cast as wide a net as possible, and found that some of the most effective programs don't define what's eligible because we can inadvertently box ourselves in. Some of the most effective programs set parameters around what's not eligible, which allows us to continue to imagine and ideate. So the program will not consider grant proposals for pretty, frankly, standard things like retroactive funding or salaries or replacement of funding for pre-existing programs. The duration of the list is on the screen as well as included in the guidelines. And what we really hope to do with these wide open guidelines and casting as wide a net as possible is to create community engagement programming that leverages Citrus Heights' uniquely solid roots to create new growth that looks like exponentially more of this. So our hope is that we can effectively market this program and partner with community champions to create community fabric that it includes new community cleanups, music and concerts, maybe in the park, placemaking and public art opportunities, pop-up events, neighborhood block parties, and more. And we're excited to see what ideas other folks can bring to the table as we imagine together. I mentioned having really compelling community data, and this community data came from our recently executed flash vote that Vice Mayor Schaefer referenced earlier this evening. One of the goal of the flash vote overall was to do a check-in with our community that's currently signed up for a flash vote to measure how the city is doing on strategic planning execution, specifically around goals in community image and community connection. So the particular question that I'm presenting here asks, the City of Citrus Heights has a strategic goal to increase community connection and will be deploying a community block party trailer available for residents to rent, free to host community events. What other ideas do you have for little things, maybe $1,000 to $5,000, that the city could do to help increase community connection or improve community image? And this question had over 100 responses of the total of almost 400 people who responded. And you can see a great depth and breadth of ideas and, frankly, community needs and desires that they would like to see implemented. So this list could guide us when we work to implement marketing of showing community champions who would like to apply the types of programs and events that our community is interested in. You can see it ranges widely, everything from ice cream socials to neighborhood outreach programs, holiday decorations contests, a community caroling event. I had quite a few favorites that I found in this list myself. And I included two sentiments that were write-ins on this survey that I thought really spoke to the spirit of this program. One person said that the best way that we could increase community connection is to encourage citizens to get creative when it comes to identifying and addressing local issues. And another resident shared, the more we can involve the community, the better our city becomes. So this program is an opportunity to invite our residents to the table to create community together. So the proposed program launch, it'll involve a 45-day online application period. And that's a distinction from a standard first-come, first-serve grant program in that we want to ensure that we're informing and fully saturating knowledge of this program for our residents and community organizations because it will be new. And we also want to ensure equity of access to the potential funds as well as consider all potential options together. We commit to doing really big marketing. This is the second community engagement program in our community engagement initiative, and we want to make sure everyone knows about it. Marketing will happen well in advance of application launch and through the application period. And of course, we commit to direct outreach to every applicable community group. Our goal is to create inspirational marketing materials. We find oftentimes with these styles of programs, it's not that folks don't have a will, it's that we just don't have an idea yet. So our goal will be to create marketing that helps folks ideate and put a finger on what they desire to see in their community. And then we're committed to providing staff support to vet project ideas and to complete applications. So the application components will be fairly simple. Again, our goal is to make this as simple as possible. It will review the project or program goal, the expected community involvement, an action plan, any maintenance to consider. We'd want to be able to quantify the significance of the potential application, the budget, and then we'd also ask for 2 letters of support to ensure that there is the community engagement ecosystem there. And that there is support for community members who are wanting to tackle new projects. The application review criteria, which will happen first step after the period closes by staff. We would review if the proposed project can be completed within the requested amount and if there's any applicable other contributions if it is a larger lift of a project. We would do an analysis on if the proposed use of funds has a reasonable likelihood that it will benefit the community and create community connection. There will be a requirement that it be completed in a calendar year. The intention is to create access to seed funding for grassroots, short-term, readily implementable projects. And of course, all projects must take place within the city of Citrus Heights, but we have to write it down for posterity. And we are prioritizing activities and projects that are free to participants and open to the public to ensure true community engagement. So a quick summary of the review and award process. Staff will review applications for completeness and eligibility, and that'll happen within 45 days of the application period closing. We'll vet those and then present to City Council Finance Committee for review and recommendation. This process mirrors what we currently do for our community support program. And then the Finance Committee recommendations will be presented to City Council for final approval. Once projects, programs, or events are approved, staff will prepare an approval letter for the project that confirms everything the applicant needs to know, including the eligible use of the funds, any permits or insurance that it's decided that particular project is needed, depending on what it looks like, and then it'll review the reimbursement process as well. And then the applicant will implement their project and submit for reimbursement. I will note that there is language in the guidelines that says alternative accommodations may be arranged alternative to reimbursement depending on the project's scope. So if it's shorter term, if it's one shot rather than a longer planning process and similar, our goal would be to approach every project individually and really design a project fingerprint that works best for them because we want to see things implemented. So for program term and funding, staff proposes that we launch the pilot round, if approved, in first quarter of 2023. We recommend a $50,000 allocation of American Rescue Plan Act funding for the pilot round. And the word pilot is intentional. We're seeing this first round will serve as demand data, so we have a better understanding of market needs, the desires that are out there, and that can inform future rounds. We're also really interested in this pilot round because it will allow us to start building even stronger relationships with interested parties. So the program life, our intention is to steward it through the lifetime of American Rescue Plan Act funds as long as the program is adequately subscribed. So we'll take it in biannual rounds, and as long as there's sufficient demand, do our best to make it happen. The $50,000 allocation is recommended via American Rescue Plan Act funding and past the strategic goals that Council has set. This is also a reiteration of the guiding principle that you've given staff on ARPA funding stewardship to work to get those dollars out into the community, make measurable progress towards our collective community goals.